The pharaoh who erased the gods. Pharaoh Akhenaten ruled Egypt from 1353 to 1336 BC. In just a few decades, he managed to turn the entire country upside down and change the religion of an entire nation. But why? What was it that made this pharaoh defy the gods? Join us today in this video, where we'll take a look at the mystery of Pharaoh Akhenaten and find out what made him erase the gods of Egypt. Ancient Egyptian culture was deeply rooted in mythology. Ancient Egyptians worshipped many gods and believed that the pharaoh was a god himself. The Great Sphinx, for example, had the body of a lion and the face of a pharaoh because it symbolized the pharaoh's divinity. However, there was one pharaoh who came along and changed everything. His name was Akhenaten, and his story is still shrouded in mystery today. Some historians believe that Akhenaten was hiding something from his people, something so terrifying that he had to get rid of all the old gods in order to protect his secret. What could it be? Let's dive into the story of Akhenaten and find out. King Tut's father, Pharaoh Akhenaten, is one of the most controversial figures in Egyptian history. During his reign, he introduced a new type of government and established a new religion. Many people believed that these changes were inspired by King Tut's mother, Queen Nefertiti, who was known for her intelligence and progressive views. However, some historians believe that Akhenaten was actually hiding something from his people, something so terrible that he needed to cover it up with a new religion and a new way of governing. What could it be? Let's continue our story. When Akhenaten took the throne, Egypt was a very different place. At that time, the Egyptian gods were not only worshipped throughout the kingdom, but also in Nubia and the Levant. The Egyptian pantheon included gods such as Ra, the sun god, Osiris, the god of the underworld, and Horus, the god of kingship. These gods were so important to the Egyptian people that temples and shrines were built in their honor throughout the kingdom. However, Akhenaten did not agree with this way of worshipping. He believed that there was only one true god, and that was Aten, the sun disk. Aten was originally a minor deity, but Akhenaten elevated him to the status of the supreme god. He then began to persecute the other gods, closing their temples and outlawing their worship. This caused a lot of resentment among the Egyptian people, but Akhenaten did not care. He was so determined to make Aten the one true god that he even changed the capital of Egypt from Thebes to Amarna, a city that was closer to Aten's temple. But why would a pharaoh want to change the religion of his people? There could be many reasons. Perhaps Akhenaten truly believed that Aten was the one true god. Perhaps he wanted to distance himself from the traditional gods of Egypt because they were too barbaric, or he was trying to hide something from his people. Unfortunately, we don't know the real reason why Akhenaten did what he did. All we have are the writings of his successors who clearly disliked him and tried to erase him from history. Akhenaten's daughter, Queen Nefertiti, was one of the most powerful women in ancient Egypt. When her father died, she took the throne and ruled as both a pharaoh and a queen. She continued Akhenaten's religious reforms and persecuted those who worshipped the old gods. However, she was more interested in art and architecture than in religion. She built magnificent temples to Aten and sponsored a number of artists and craftsmen who created beautiful works of art depicting Aten and Akhenaten. But why would someone like Queen Nefertiti, who loved art and beauty, support her father's brutal religious reforms? Some historians believe that she was simply following in her father's footsteps, while others believe that she was more interested in power than in religion. Whatever the case may be, Queen Nefertiti is remembered as one of the most controversial figures in ancient Egypt. Akhenaten's legacy is a complicated one. He is remembered as the pharaoh who tried to abolish all of the gods of Egypt. He is also remembered for his strange appearance and his unconventional ways of ruling. Some people view him as a madman, while others view him as a visionary. But the truth is, we don't really know who Akhenaten was or what he was thinking. All we have are the writings of his successors, who clearly disliked him and tried to erase him from history. So why would Akhenaten do such a thing? Why would he try to abolish the gods of Egypt? What was he hiding? Some historians believe that Akhenaten was hiding something terrible from his people, something so horrible that he needed to get rid of all the old gods in order to protect his secret. What could it be? Perhaps Akhenaten was trying to hide the fact that he wasn't actually a pharaoh at all. Perhaps he was an impostor who had taken the throne illegally, or maybe he was hiding evidence of a terrible crime he had committed. Whatever the case may be, Akhenaten's secret is still unknown to this day. Many people have tried to uncover the truth about Akhenaten, but no one has been successful. His tomb has never been found, and his legacy continues to be shrouded in mystery. What do you think Akhenaten was hiding? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and leave a like. We've got lots more coming your way. The boy who would be Pharaoh. Tutankhamun, also known as King Tut, was the 12th pharaoh of the 18th dynasty of Egypt. He ruled from 1332 to 1323 BC and is famous for being the youngest pharaoh in Egyptian history. Tutankhamun took the throne at the age of 9 or 10 years old and ruled until he was 19 or 20 years old. His reign was marked by great change, as he reversed many of his father's policies, including the religious reforms and foreign policy. Despite his young age, Tutankhamun was a powerful ruler who made significant contributions to Egypt. For example, he restored the traditional Egyptian gods and re-established trade with neighboring countries. He also commissioned the building of several temples and monuments, including the Temple of Karnak. Perhaps the most famous monument associated with Tutankhamun is his tomb, which was discovered by Howard Carter in 1922. This discovery was a major event in the history of archaeology and helped to popularize ancient Egypt around the world. Unfortunately, Tutankhamun's reign was cut short when he died at the age of 19 or 20 years old. The cause of his death is unknown, but it has been speculated that he died from a chariot accident, malaria, or a genetic disorder. Nevertheless, Tutankhamun's legacy lived on. His tomb was filled with treasures, and his story has inspired countless works of art and literature. Today, he is considered one of the most iconic pharaohs in Egyptian history, the mysterious death of Akhenaten. While the circumstances surrounding Akhenaten's death are unknown, historians have been able to piece together a likely scenario based on the available evidence. Most scholars agree that Akhenaten died after ruling for around 17 years, although some sources claim his reign lasted longer. However, there is no historical evidence to support these claims. According to the Turin King List, which is a document that records the names and reigns of ancient Egyptian rulers, Akhenaten's successor, Smenkhare, took the throne in year 17 of Akhenaten's reign. This suggests that Akhenaten may have died in year 18. However, there is a discrepancy between the Turin King List and another ancient Egyptian document known as the Abydos King List. The Abydos King List is a funerary temple built by Ramses II in the Egyptian city of Abydos. It contains a list of pharaohs that dates back to the First Dynasty, and it includes the names of several pharaohs who are not mentioned in other historical records. According to the Abydos King List, Akhenaten ruled for 21 years, which would mean that he died in year 21 of his reign. However, most historians believe that the Abydos King List is inaccurate and that the Turin King List is a more reliable source. Additionally, there is no archaeological evidence to support the claim that Akhenaten ruled for 21 years. Therefore, it is generally accepted that Akhenaten's reign lasted for 17 years and that he died in year 18 of his reign. However, it is worth noting that the exact date of Akhenaten's death is unknown. Historians have estimated that he died sometime between 1336 and 1334 BC, but there is no historical evidence to support this claim. In conclusion, while the exact circumstances surrounding Akhenaten's death remain a mystery, historians have been able to piece together a likely scenario based on the available evidence. It is generally accepted that Akhenaten died in year 18 of his reign, sometime between 1336 and 1334 BC. However, without further evidence, the true cause and date of his death may never be known. Did you know? During Akhenaten's reign, the Egyptian capital was moved from Thebes to Amarna. This was a radical move for the time period, as it was one of the first examples of a government relocating its capital. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more.